Okay, so let's jump into this deep dive. Today's topic is something I think we're all thinking about in some way or another, building wealth. And this is a really interesting piece that we have in front of us. It's called 12 Signs You Will Be Rich in 2025. Now, this isn't like a fortune-telling thing or anything. It's more like a set of indicators, kind of like a roadmap, I guess, of the kinds of mindsets and actions that we see again and again with people who are building financial success.
Yeah, exactly.
So our goal today is to really dig into these 12 signs. We're going to go beyond just like a surface level list, like bullet points or something. We're going to try to pull out some genuinely useful insights, really helpful stuff that you can think about as you're on your own financial journey.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect way to approach it. It's like we're not trying to give a guarantee for the future or anything.
Right.
It's more about understanding what are the common habits, the kinds of things that we see in people who've, built wealth over time. This material gives us a really good structure to kind of explore those common threads.
Yeah, I like that. Common threads. Okay, so let's dive right in. The first sign this piece highlights is having multiple income streams. So just logically, does that make sense to you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Not having all your eggs in one basket with just one paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
The source material gives examples like side hustles, investments, starting a business, maybe even doing freelance work. And it points out the potential vulnerability, the risk of depending solely on a 9-to-5 job. That's really kind of scary in a lot of ways.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're right. Putting all your financial eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
It leaves you wide open, exposed to all sorts of unexpected events. You could lose your job. There could be shifts in your whole industry that you never saw coming. Mm-hmm. And what I think is really interesting here is it's not just about making more money. It's about the resilience that you're building into your life when you diversify your income. I love that this piece, it gives us a lot of really good starting points.
Yeah.
Like, you could use the skills you already have, right? Mm-hmm. And do freelance work or consulting. You could get into investing in the markets or even real estate. Mm-hmm. Or what about this? You could create online courses or content,
Oh, that's interesting.
And monetize your expertise.
Yeah.
So just think for a minute. When you think about your own skills, are there some areas you could maybe leverage in some new ways?
Yeah. Well, that's such a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And you're right, it's not just about the security of it.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense, but it's not just about that. It's also about, accelerating how you build wealth.
Exactly.
Because instead of, just growing slowly from one source of income, you've got multiple things feeding in. It's like having, multiple engines all driving your financial progress at the same time.
Right.
I love that. The piece actually says, if you're already exploring these different things, different income streams, chances are you're already moving in a positive direction,
Precisely. Each one, even if it's small at first, even if it's not a ton of money right away, it adds to the overall picture. It gives you more, potential capital to invest further. Mm-hmm. And it just takes the strain off of any single income source. It's a form of compounding,
right?
Not just in your investment returns, but like compounding your earning potential itself.
I like that a lot. So from how we earn, now the second sign takes us to what we actually do with that money. Investing rather than just saving. This feels like such a crucial difference, right?
Yeah.
So this piece that we're looking at really emphasizes this. It's like while saving money is, of course, very important, it's crucial to building wealth.
Sure, yeah.
The value of those savings can actually decrease over time because of inflation.
Right.
And the real magic, it says, comes from making your money work for you.
That's it. That's the foundational principle.
Yeah.
You got to make your money work for you. Saving it's like building that safety net, right?
Yeah.
But investing, that's how you put your money into things that are actually going to grow in value over time.
Yeah.
And ideally, you want that growth to outpace inflation, right? So you're actually coming out ahead.
Exactly.
The piece goes on to highlight some really important areas for investment.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
So you've got the stock market through things like index funds or ETFs, which are essentially like baskets of stocks.
Right.
They could be a really simple way to get started, to diversify. Then there's real estate, always popular. You could look at rental properties or even flipping houses, which is a little more, hands-on.
Yeah, definitely.
But it can create some passive income.
Yeah.
And then there's the riskier stuff, but potentially higher reward. crypto and blockchain assets.
Yeah.
This is more for, long-term investors who are comfortable with a little bit more volatility.
Yeah, a little higher risk tolerance there.
Exactly. And then there's this point that I really love, this idea of investing in your own business.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more about that.
I think it's so empowering, right?
Yeah. It's like you're taking more direct control. You're investing in something that you understand, that you can really have a hand in shaping. It's not just handing your money over to somebody else. You're building something yourself.
Yeah.
The source also stresses that this whole investing thing, it's a long-term game.
Oh, yeah. It's not get rich quick.
No, not at all. And the earlier you start, the more significant the impact is going to be on the wealth that you accumulate over time. It's all about the power of compounding,
Time. Right.
Time. That's the magic ingredient.
Yeah, compounding, that makes a huge difference.
Exactly. Time is your biggest ally when it comes to investing. The more time you have on your side, the more time your investments have to grow and really benefit from those compound returns. And that's where things get really exciting.
I know, exponential growth.
Exactly, because your earnings start earning returns.
Yeah.
So you're making money on your money. And even if you're just putting away small amounts consistently over a long period, it can really snowball into something significant. Yeah, makes a huge difference. All right, moving on.
Okay.
Sign number 3. This one is valuing learning over entertainment. And this one, I think, really makes us think about how we're spending our time.
Yeah, our most valuable asset.
Exactly. You can't get it back.
Yeah.
And the piece here, it draws a pretty stark contrast between how successful individuals allocate their time. Are they seeking out information, or are they just kind of passively consuming entertainment? Like, scrolling, binge watching, that kind of thing.
It's about making a choice,
Yeah.
right? Choosing personal and professional growth over just zoning out. The source gives us some really good examples of learning activities, reading books on finance or business, listening to educational podcasts, watching skill-based videos, and just, cultivating a mindset of always wanting to improve, always trying to learn new things. What do you think about that? What resonates with you most about this idea?
I think the most interesting thing here is the self-assessment, the questions it kind of implicitly raises for all of us, you know? Are we actively looking for information that can help us, improve our financial literacy or how we think about business or whatever our goals are?
Right.
Or are we just on autopilot, just letting entertainment wash over us? I think the core idea here is that, having a commitment to learning builds a really strong foundation for long-term success in any area, really.
Absolutely. And, the world is changing so quickly these days.
So fast.
Right. So it's not just like a bonus to keep learning. It's essential. If you want to stay on top of your game, if you want to spot new opportunities, you got to keep learning.
Yeah.
It actually goes back to what we were talking about with, investing in yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
Because the knowledge that you gain, the skills that you build, these are valuable assets in themselves.
They really are.
Yeah. And they can directly lead to financial growth.
All right, sign number 4. This one really focuses on the power of our network. Specifically, networking with successful people.
Ah, yes. Who you surround yourself with.
The piece actually makes this bold statement. It says, your network is your net worth.
I love that.
And it talks about the impact of who we're spending our time with. Are we around people who are struggling financially or are very negative?
Yeah.
Or, the flip side, are we connecting with people who are ambitious, who are successful?
It really does make a difference.
Yeah, this idea that we can be pulled down or we can be lifted up.
Exactly. And it's not about, being snobby or anything.
Right.
It's about consciously choosing to build relationships with people who inspire you, who challenge you to think bigger.
Yeah.
And who have actually achieved what you're aiming for.
Yeah.
They've walked the walk.
Yeah, they've done it.
The source gives us some really practical tips here on how to expand your network in this way. Like you could join some groups, professional communities, maybe investment groups. You could find a mentor, find a coach, somebody who can really guide you. And just be proactive about connecting with people who are already where you want to be.
Yeah. Put yourself out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like this idea. It's almost like learning by osmosis, isn't it? Just by being around these people who have a certain mindset, a certain way of doing things, you naturally start to pick up some of that.
Oh, yeah. You absorb it, it rubs off on you.
Yeah. And the piece actually says, success leaves clues.
Love that.
Which I think is a really cool way to think about it. We can learn so much just by watching, by observing, by asking questions.
And by engaging.
Yeah.
by actually talking to people, having conversations.
With those people who are living it already.
Exactly. And these connections, they can provide so much. They can give you insights. You might find mentors. They can even open doors to opportunities that you wouldn't have even known about otherwise.
Yeah.
It's really about building a support system, a community that actually wants to see you succeed.
I love that. All right, on to number 5. This one is setting clear financial goals. And this is where the rubber meets the road, right?
Absolutely.
It's like the difference between just wishing for wealth and actually having a plan to get there.
This is where it goes from a dream to something real.
Yeah.
Because without clear goals, you're just kind of wandering around.
Yeah.
You're not really sure where you're going. Your efforts can get scattered. It's like you got to have that target, that destination in mind.
Right. It's like having a map.
Exactly.
So this piece lays out some really good advice here on setting those goals, like defining your target income for the year. What do you want to be making? Setting specific investment targets. How much do you want to have in your portfolio?
Yeah.
And this one I think is really important, tracking your progress.
Oh, crucial.
And being willing to adjust course along the way.
Yeah, it's not about being rigid. It's about being flexible, seeing what's working, what's not working, and making those adjustments as you go.
I think even just that simple act of writing down your goals can be so powerful.
Oh, absolutely.
It gets it out of your head. It gets it out of the realm of just like a vague hope.
Yeah, it makes it real.
Yeah.
It makes it something concrete.
Yeah, it makes you accountable. And the piece actually says, a goal without a plan is just a wish.
Love that.
So true.
So true. It really highlights how important it is to have that roadmap, to have that plan.
And there's a really effective way to set goals it's often called SMART goals. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, SMART goals.
Yeah, it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Yeah, the whole framework.
Exactly. And when you set goals this way, it just brings so much clarity. You can track your progress, you can see how you're doing, and that helps you stay motivated and make those adjustments when you need to.
Okay, sign number 6. This one tackles something that I think a lot of people struggle with, the fear of failure.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
And the piece contrasts this fear with the mindset that we often see in wealthy individuals. It's almost like they view failure as just a learning experience.
Yeah.
Like it's inevitable. It's going to happen, and it's actually necessary.
It's part of the process.
Yeah, you can't get around it.
You're going to learn more from your failures than your successes, probably.
Often, yeah.
And the piece reminds us that even the most successful people, financially successful people, they've all messed up.
Oh, for sure. They've made tons of mistakes. They've had setbacks. It's part of the game.
Yeah.
What I think is so crucial here is this mindset shift,
Yeah.
You can't look at failure as like the end of the world. It's just feedback. It's information.
Yeah.
It's telling you what to adjust, what to tweak. And, the source suggests we actually cultivate a risk-taking mindset. Start with calculated risks. Don't just jump into anything blindly, but be thoughtful. Do your research, and then if things don't work out the way you hoped, analyze it, learn from it. Don't get discouraged. Just keep refining, keep getting better.
Yeah.
And this builds confidence over time.
It's a process.
It is.
And that idea of calculated risks, that's so key. It's not about being reckless.
No, not at all.
It's about pushing yourself a little bit. Getting out of your comfort zone, but doing it in a thoughtful way.
Exactly. And the focus should always be on learning.
Yeah.
Not on beating yourself up.
Not letting it get you down.
Right, because every failure is an opportunity to learn, to get better. And when you can see it that way, you become more resilient. You just keep going, you keep persevering. And that's so important when it comes to building wealth.
Yeah, because there are going to be challenges. You're not going to get it right every time.
Exactly.
Okay, sign number 7 gets down to, I think, a pretty fundamental principle. Strong work ethic. The piece actually says that wealth, it's not usually about luck. It's not about, just happening to be in the right place at the right time. It's usually the result of hard work, of dedicated effort, of persistence.
Yeah, there's no substitute for that.
Right, it's putting in the work. And so the source here, it prompts us to ask ourselves some tough questions. Like, Are we actually working towards our goals every day? Are we staying focused? Especially when things get tough. And are we avoiding distractions, things that are just wasting our time?
About being honest with yourself, right?
Totally.
Are you really putting in the effort? Are you showing up consistently? Are you being mindful of how you're spending your time and energy?
Yeah. I think sometimes we need those tough questions
Yeah.
to really be honest with ourselves.
And, discipline, a strong work ethic,
Mm-hmm.
these are often the things that don't get a lot of attention,
Mm-hmm.
but they're really the foundation of success.
The unsung heroes.
Exactly. I mean, sure, there might be some exceptions. There might be a few people who just get lucky.
Right.
But for the vast majority of us, building real wealth, it requires effort.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to put in the time. You got to be willing to work hard to reach your goals.
And to be consistent about it, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it.
Okay, sign number 8 focuses on something that I think we all have at least some control over, our spending habits. The piece here, it contrasts the behavior of people who are building wealth. They're investing, they're being careful with their money.
Yeah.
And it contrasts that with the behavior of people who maybe are spending more on, just stuff, things they don't really need.
Right.
And it really emphasizes that we all need to be smart about managing our money, things like spending less than we earn,
Yeah, that's key.
avoiding unnecessary debt,
Absolutely.
and investing in those assets that can grow.
Yeah. It's about being intentional,
Mm-hmm.
making choices that are aligned with your goals.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about depriving yourself, not necessarily. It's just about being conscious, making sure your spending is in line with where you want to go in life.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
The piece actually highlights how important it is to, live below your means.
Yeah. That classic advice.
Yeah. And to be putting money into those things that have the potential to generate more income or to go up in value over time.
Right. It's the difference between having your money work for you
Yeah.
or working for your money.
Oh, yeah. That's a good distinction.
And this piece also, it really cautions us to be careful with debt,
Yeah.
especially debt for things that aren't actually going to generate any income.
Yeah, it's like good debt versus bad debt, right?
Exactly. Some debt can be helpful,
Mm,
but you got to be strategic about it.
yeah.
The source really emphasizes that having a strong handle on your spending habits, it puts you ahead of a lot of people.
Makes a huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all about creating that space, that gap between your income and your expenses.
Yeah.
And then taking that surplus and putting it towards the things that really matter to you, the things that are going to move you forward.
Yeah.
And that's how you build long-term wealth.
All right, number 9. This one is really interesting. It's about seeing opportunities in problems. And I think this is such a cool mindset shift.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
This is where things get really interesting.
Yeah. The piece contrasts how wealthy people tend to think. They look at a problem and they see an opportunity.
Yeah.
They see potential.
Yeah, they're not afraid of the problem. They see it as a challenge to be solved.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people, they just see the obstacle.
Yeah. They shut down. They get discouraged.
It's all about how you frame it.
Yeah.
And the source really encourages us to cultivate this proactive, solution-oriented mindset. Instead of feeling defeated by a problem, you actually look for a way to innovate, to find a solution, to create value out of that situation.
Yeah.
Look for those gaps in the market. Think outside the box. How can you address a need that's not being met?
Yeah.
Or how can you find a better way to solve an existing problem?
And that's where those ideas for businesses come from.
Exactly. It's that shift from passive to active. You're not just waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
You're going out and making things happen. You're looking for those opportunities. And that can often lead to some pretty significant financial rewards.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, sign number 10. This one's all about the world we live in right now, how quickly it's changing. It's adapting to change and innovation.
Oh, yeah. We live in a fast-paced world.
We do. Things are changing all the time. The piece really emphasizes that technology is changing, industries are changing, and if you want to be successful in building wealth, you got to stay informed and you got to be adaptable.
Yeah. Being stuck in your ways, it's not going to cut it anymore.
No.
The source specifically calls out areas like AI, cryptocurrency, digital businesses. These are all things that are really shaking things up right now.
Yeah.
And it also talks about just being open to new ways of generating income, because who knows what's going to be possible in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Goes back to that whole idea of continuous learning, right?
Yeah, it all connects.
You got to be willing to learn new things, to experiment, to try new technologies, new business models, and that's what's going to keep you ahead of the curve.
It's like, don't get stuck in the old ways of thinking, right?
No, because if you resist change, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah, Be willing to learn, be willing to pivot, change your strategies when you need to.
Exactly. And that's how you stay relevant. That's how you keep building wealth, even as the world around you is changing.
Yeah, that's so true. Okay, sign number 11. This one is all about action. It's taking action over just waiting.
Yeah. This is where things actually get done.
The piece points out that a lot of people dream of success, but it's the people who actually take action who achieve it.
It's the doers, right?
The doers, yeah. It's not about waiting for the perfect time, the perfect moment.
No, because that moment might never come.
Yeah.
And often the waiting itself is the biggest obstacle.
Yeah.
You gotta just start, even if it's not perfect, even if you're not 100% ready.
Imperfect action is better than no action.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, as you start taking those steps, you'll learn along the way.
Yeah, you'll adjust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The source actually puts it really simply. Action is the catalyst for success. Start today.
I love that.
Yeah. And it's all about building momentum.
Yeah.
Once you start taking action, things start to happen. You get feedback, you learn, you adjust.
Yeah. And you build on that.
Exactly. But if you just keep putting it off, you're just going to stay stuck.
Okay, finally, number 12. This one is all about consistency and patience.
The long game.
The long game. The source reminds us that building wealth, it's a gradual process. It's not going to happen overnight.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
you got to persevere. You got to stay committed. You can't get discouraged.
Yeah, because there are going to be ups and downs. There are going to be times when it feels like you're not making progress.
Yeah, you hit those plateaus, right?
But if you just keep showing up, if you keep putting in the work, if you keep investing, if you keep learning, it's going to pay off.
Yeah. It's about trusting the process.
Exactly. And patience is key here. You got to be willing to let things unfold over time, because that's how the power of compounding really works its magic, both in your investments and in your own personal and professional growth.
And this one, this final sign, it really brings all the other points together.
It does. It's like the glue that holds it all together.
Yeah, it's that reminder that those other 11 signs, they're most effective when you apply them consistently over a long period of time.
Right. You got to stay the course.
So to wrap things up here, we really dug into these 12 signs from this piece, 12 signs you will be rich in 2025. And we explored, what they tell us about building wealth.
Yeah, we covered a lot of ground.
We talked about multiple income streams, investing, learning, networking, setting goals, embracing risk, working hard, being smart with our spending, seeing opportunities, adapting to change, taking action, and being consistent and patient.
It's a pretty comprehensive set of principles.
Yeah, it really is.
And, while the title mentions a specific year, I think these ideas, they're really timeless.
Yeah, they apply no matter what year it is.
Exactly. Anyone who wants to build a better financial future, these principles can help.
So as you're listening to this, I encourage you to think about which of these signs really resonate with you.
Yeah, which ones stand out?
Where do you already see yourself doing these things?
Yeah.
And maybe even more importantly, what's the one thing, the one area that you could focus on right now?
That could make the biggest impact.
Yeah.
What's that one thing you can start doing today to move you closer to your goals?
Because that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
Taking action.
Absolutely.
So think about it. What's your next step?
Yeah, what's that one thing?
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah, it's been a great conversation.
Until next time.
See you then.